What's going on this week's?
Hey, hey! Oh, I'm on now.
You're on.
We are learning all the new things in the new program, but we got
Right.
it. I got it.
Right.
I got it.
How you
Shout
doing
out
today,
to my
baby?
technical director, Isaac Williams. I give you kudos today.
Trying to do some things, man. It's scary because you press one button and the whole thing will shut down and it'll turn into a transformer. And,
It's okay. It's okay. I'm watching, like I told you, I'm watching the Marvel comics, and so like I feel like I can transfer. I'm a shapeshifter now, so I can make anything happen.
So you're a snake because you're just kind of like you're doing like a whack like 80s snake just now.
I'm not whack. I'm not whack. I'm not whack. I'm not lame. Stop it. I'm not whack. I'm not lame. I'm a shapeshifter. I'm a shapeshifter. Anyway, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Chris Daniel.
Yes, good morning, Loudstream family. This is our first show on Loudstream.
Our first show on Loudstream. Live.
I'm excited to be here.
It's interesting. I like the platform, like the blue background interface.
Yes.
You're looking at the little fancy street car in the background, like we moving on up. So it's like we're in a good space, man.
We're good. We're
good stuff going on.
Fancier.
Huh?
We're getting fancier and fancier as time goes by.
And the fanciness is going to continue to pipe it up.
There we
go. So we're doing good, man. It's always a pleasure to have discussions with you on these Sunday mornings and wonderful guests and our viewers. It's always a pleasure to have you guys with us, and for our new followers, our new viewers. I am Isaac Williams, aka Mr. Cool, and this is
Nia Weeks, aka the amazing, beautiful, lovely, incredible,
and all that other stuff that has LIES.
You know what? Not today. You were on one last week, and I gave it to you. You were on one last week. Not today.
Last week I was chilling, and one thing about me, the reason why I have the name Mr. Cool is like I'm always cool, man.
You think that.
It's like I'm not in nobody else's business. I'm not worrying about nobody else doing. I'm just doing me. I ain't trying to strike no one. I'll move like that. I move in peace.
I'm gonna let you live in that world. I'm gonna let you live there. You can just stay right there. Okay, so I want to jump right in because last night we were talking a little bit, and we said we got to talk about it today, and so I want to talk about it so that we can set it to the side.
All right.
And so everybody has had thoughts and feelings about Will and Jada, and I have my own thoughts about the thing in its entirety. I will say, the fact that we put so much emphasis and thought and time and space in how other people move in their relationships, whether they're celebrity or not, I think that can be a waste of time. But we're here. We're talking about it. So, I think we should talk about it a little bit. What do you think, Isaac?
All right. I'm one of those kind of guys, man. When you started talking about people relationships, I want to first reduce it from a celebrity standpoint. I know it is a celebrity relationship, but I like to bring it to real time, like real time people, right? Because I think sometimes when you really get into the minutia of people relationships, you add a little seasoning because they are celebrities, because they're in the public eye. But if the person right around the corner, that's so and so, shit happens is what they say, that type of stuff. So, Jada and Will, they have been very public. Let me say a few things about them because it is a very good situation, especially when we're talking about black love, black relationships and stuff. They've been very public about their relationships. I'm talking from the on relationship issues with Tupac and all other things, all that, right? And this is no different than anything else. It's just, I think the sticker shock is timing and the age, right? And then we can get into the toxicity of the situation, right? Really get into that. We can get into that later. And when I say toxicity, I'm talking about things that happen, but in that from which we were shown.
Got it.
The whole story, right? To be fair to all parties, I don't know these people, I know their business. I'm just speaking on peer generalizations, all right? So you can take what you want from it. So I'm gonna try to reduce this because I'm gonna give you space to jump in there.
I get to talk? Thank you. I get to talk today?
Good, man, go ahead. No, can I get to talk today? That's the real question. Shit. I be able to fucking pacify my mind.
No, this is you're on one. You jump in there. You're on one.
Man. But we really start getting into the relationships and how the world is moving when it comes to relationships. The dynamic has really shifted, and it's going to continue to shift. Like children have mommy, daddy kind of dynamics. They got children are growing up in polygamy situations, with polygamy with parents, with two moms, one dad. So it's a host of things that people are experiencing right now. As it regards to society and what they're doing and the others that are seeing the situation, I don't think that's no different than anybody right around the corner have experienced at all.
Agreed. Completely agree. Completely agree. And you and I have both been married before. And getting married is complicated. We live so many times in this fairy tale ideology of what we think marriage should be and look like. And so we kind of push that ideology that's what we expect to see. That does not exist at all. Like in the relationships that we spend so much time idolizing, relationship goals. Even when you look at Barack and Michelle, there were times that Michelle was like, bro, I can't do you today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's times that Barack looks at Michelle and like, not today. I need you to be quiet today. That is living and growing with somebody. One thing that I learned in my marriage, even though that was not a successful marriage, it was still a marriage. And it was a long-term relationship, that you have to wake up every single day recommitting yourself to that person, recommitting yourself to that space every single day. Because, you're navigating and adjusting with somebody else's desires and, feelings, and you're navigating that through your head and navigating that through your space. And some days it's exhausting. Some days it's lovely. And so you can look at that person like, you know what? I'm glad I'm navigating with you. You're like, bro, I need you to go somewhere.
And that's relationships.
That's relationships. That's it. And over 20 plus years, you are going to have a lot of those moments. One of the things that I could tell, I felt, and maybe it may not be true, but I felt it when they were talking during the Red Table Talk. And when they were saying, when she was like, we were done. And he was like, I was done with you. And she was like, yeah, we were done. I felt like like what that meant, right? That they had exhausted effort. By that time they had been married almost 20 years. And
let me say something to that. Let me say something to that, because I want you to continue to say, I want to interject one thing, because I think about this conversation, I think about demographics. And I think where people are in their life, right? There are some people in their 20s, they may have never experienced that, what you're talking about. They may have had a breakup in high school or something that was not as pungent. But when you just spend 15 to 20 years of your life with somebody and you come to a point where you're like, I'm done, it's like you have really grown into a place to say that. And it's a difference. So, and that's not to shortcut anybody with it. It's like certain things you learn through experiences. So continue.
Absolutely. And even piggybacking on that, Isaac, I can't think of a person that I've allowed into my life to be a potential partner, to be a partner, or to interact with me in a way that is beyond friendship, right? I can't think of a person that I've done that with that I can't pick up the phone right now and call, that I can't go to lunch with, that I can't, that won't know that doesn't know that they can call me if they have an issue, a legal issue. And it's because I've based any of that on a friendship. And at some point we got tired and realized this kind of interaction won't work.
Right.
That who you are, who you've grown to be, who you show me to be, who you are, I can't fulfill where you want to go in a way that's going to make both of us healthy. Right. So it's best that we separate space, but we can continue friendship, continue care, and continue to figure out life. And that didn't happen immediately all the time. Sometimes that happened a year or two later. Sometimes it happened months later, weeks later. But after a period of time, you revert back to that friendship, right? But there's a moment of exhaustion. Like, I can't do you no more. I don't want to do this with you anymore. And I think that's fair for human beings to do that.
And you're right. I attribute that to a whole energy spectrum, right? Because it got certain people that you can be on a wave with someone and that wave will never stop, right? Like one of my closest friends, I got several close friends, but like several. Anyway, I got two guys that I have close to me, right? It's Michael Malone and Lamb, right? Those two brothers are like close to me, like they're males. And there's nothing in this world that can break and sever that relationship, right? Because that's a loyalty, that's a bond that we have, right? Then we start taking that same kind of intimacy to a relationship, despite whatever sex that you're connected to. When you take that level to intimacy, if you can't find that type of bond, that unwavering bond, then, and I'm talking about someone that you can be passionate in love with through everything. And those things don't come overnight. You build those connections with people. And I think sometimes earlier on, and I'm not talking about us or anybody for that fact, they throw in the towel on situations when they don't realize that I got to go through changes, you got to go through changes. And through those changes, that's how we continue to realize our energies are compatible. We can move together. Because there's some people you can do great business with, right? This person got a business mind. They got, and you fall in love with attributes of the person, but you haven't fell in love with the person. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, that type of stuff.
That's real. And Isaac, I'm one of those people that I love the process of falling in love. Right. I love the process of meeting somebody and feeling the newness. I love the process of discovering all the awesome things about them. But I also love the process of the moments of conflict that happen and that we're able to figure out what it means to recommit to that care and that space. And, I don't think that falling in love with somebody is just limited to romantic relationships. I fall in love with my children every day.
Right.
I fall in love with my friends. Like my friends who's like, don't do it. And I'm like, I am so in love with the person that you are. And there are moments that love gets challenged. And I'm like, actually, this way right now, I can't do you. Right? I've been disappointed in this way by you. And maybe I'm going to take a step back and retreat. But I also love that process of falling back in love. I love the process of figuring out where connectivity can happen again. And I think that reverberates through all relationships.
I like that.
I think it's really special when that relationship is extended to a partnership, right?
I like you, Mia. I like you, man. I'm on your side today. You John Turkey. Keep running. I like it. Go.
But when it's elevated in a partnership, right, that you have chosen to not just go through this journey with this person as you would anybody else, but you're committed to going back to that sanctity every time you fall out of love or you fall out of sync, that you're committed to going back. And the thing that I find intriguing about the Will and Jada scenario, right, is that you can see that they're still navigating through, that they're still figuring out. The reality is that 2 years from now, they may go right back to that space that they were 4 years ago when they completely fell out.
But that's the beauty of relationships, man. That's the beauty. That's because it's like what you're saying, and and the reason why I'm gassing the story up. I'm throwing gas on the fire. It's beautiful. The phoenix of a relationship, right? You blossom into this creature, and then you burn up, right? And then you come from the ashes and you come back, and it's like, and that's what like the Rhombus Taurus, right? The universe is always this reborn. It's always things constantly going back into itself, and it's the newness of things, and to have that heart, and that's what I'm talking about, that energy, right? If you look at chemicals, and I got something I want to say as soon as I finish with this, so give me 1 second. You got certain chemicals, right? Like you got some things, they compound with one another, they join, and it becomes a beautiful reaction, like hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen, get water. But there's some things that have volatile reactions when they come together. Nothing is wrong with the volatile act, because that's where we get bullets, you get explosions and fire, right? Right? That's volatile reactions of substances, and it gives us what we need. So it's that balance. You got to know how to tone those things. But bro, this face, that Will face.
Yeah.
Did you see his face?
I did. And that's the part that I think is unfair. And that's the reason why I'm frustrated that we have to remove ourselves from allowing them to navigate their space, because they're human, right? And the reality is that, yes, we public got it, all the things, but we are human beings navigating through space. And he probably just wasn't in a space to publicly show where he was. But the thing that I appreciated, I know everyone has their opinions about why he's hurt. I've seen.
We'll talk about that.
And I hear but he wasn't ready for that judgment, and that he didn't have the armor to take that on, because he had to have armor to take it on in the public eye. But the thing that I appreciated that he said. And he said, Jada, you remember what I told you when we got married? And he said, there's nothing that I can't love you through. And she said, I didn't believe you. I actually didn't think that was true.
Right.
And he said, and he was like, how am I doing so far? And she said, you're doing great. And and that is the space that I think that we should rest our heads on, if anything else, is that what they decided 22 years ago was that nothing was going to tear them apart in a way that they couldn't love each other through. That didn't mean that they committed that they were never going to break up. They didn't commit that they were never going to have a tough moment. They didn't commit to that they were never going to separate. They committed to loving each other through anything. At the bottom line, it's cement. And that is what partnership is. That's what a good partnership is.
It is. Will Smith, I'm going to make him in this conversation Tyrone Jenkins, right? I'm going to bring him to our community, to the dude around the corner.
Dude, okay.
The cat that come install your cable at your house, right? Because we got to take that celebrity off, because and look at him as a man, period, right? Who chose to have a certain lifestyle that he led in his family, in his home. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get to the public side of it, but we're just gonna look at him as Tyrone Jenkins. This brother is dealing with a situation where the whole community knows what's going on in his house, in his family, right? And to have the shoulders up and the head up, right? And to know that my relationship with this woman is beyond anything that y'all got to say, anything the community got to say. That's my woman. That's my lady. You know what I'm saying? And I rock with her. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people have not, and I'm going to say this because I done been through marriage. I done been through the ups and downs of relationships. You find certain things in people that you can connect with. And this energy right here is a binding force, right? And like what you were saying earlier, no matter what you say and whatever happens, this is what it is. This is what it is. and he see that in that woman, right?
Yep.
And they got a lot of people, they instigate situations because they come from shitty situations and they want people to be in shitty situations, right? Or they haven't seen a healthy relationship before. A healthy relationship is not just doing workouts and stuff together, some relationship. That's not, that's the Instagram side of a relationship. Nobody really want to see the MySpace side. Black Planet side when things were rough.
Yep.
Like the underbelly of a relationship that keeps someone going, and that's those things, those binding agents. And you got to know what you're connecting to, because that's when you start separating relationships, and you know it just as well as I know it, Nia. When you love someone, I'm talking with that binding kind of force, and they begin to tear, parts of you get torn out too.
Yes.
And you have to reconstruct.
A Band-Aid. It is.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why, Isaac, like when I emphasize, when we talk about like the dynamics of relationships, whether it's two men, two women, man and woman, it has nothing, like we don't have the ability to make judgment on what people's hearts are calling them to. We have no space to judge how anybody navigates their heart. Like real talk, Like the only thing that we should be doing is appreciating that two people, three people, however people choose to do it, but that people have connected in a way that they are willing to love each other through however they show up. Now, I'm putting a pause button on toxic stuff, because there's toxic stuff that exists.
Come on, let's go.
There's stuff that exists that is not okay. So this is not us talking about stuff that is toxic, harmful, and detrimental. We're talking about people making mistakes, people figuring out who they are, people trying to figure out, Dad, do I really rock with this? Like, I don't think I like the way that felt, because, that was not how I move, but cool for you. I meet men all the time. And I'm like, you are incredible. And I think you are wonderful, and you would be great for my friend.
Right.
Because you are not for me. Because where my desires, my values, and things that I need and I want lie here. And you're here and you're great in that, right? And there is someone out there that will connect to that, not me. But we can go to lunch, we can go to dinner, we can create projects. But as far as my heart commitment, I can't give that to you. And I don't want you to give that to me, right? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about bond, right? And a couple who has chosen and has been very clear that they are both imperfect and still accept those imperfections and are willing to navigate through those imperfections and perfections to the point that after probably one of the most difficult public times of their lives, because you can see it, right, up to this point, the end of that was, I promised that there was nothing that I couldn't love you through.
Right.
That was the end of that. That was like, regardless of what anyone has to say, regardless of what you see on my face, regardless of me saying, words, entanglement and all the things. And I will also say, I felt like she chose that word and chose to construct it that way out of respect for her husband.
Right.
As to publicly say, I had a relationship like this. She knew his heart better than we did.
Right, that's her husband.
We read his face. She read his heart. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to be like, I'm going to say what it is, but I'm not going to throw it out there because my husband is not feeling great in this moment. So I'm going to give a word that explains it, that we all understand, but not throwing it in his face. Right? And he gave her permission to say exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Those.
He's a man. He's a man.
And she was a woman loving her partner, her chosen partner.
And what I'm saying about that, I'm speaking to a lot of dudes out there, and I can't speak for a woman in this kind of aspect, but this was a man acting in the role of a man, right? He had no immaturity, he was too prideful. Like, I'm gonna give my woman messed up in whatever way that may have been. I'm going to give her space to vocalize what happened. And I'm not going to jump down her throat. We don't know what happened behind closed doors, how they handled the situation. We really don't, right? But in this platform, we can still see the same raw emotions was available, right? It was being controlled, and that's what things about when you start getting into relationship. When you love someone, you gotta know how to temper all of that to get what needs to get done.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what. And so let's get to the healing process. I need you. I know you're trying to respect me, but go ahead and say it because you need to say it. You need it out of you, right? Because sometimes we are the oppressed, the oppressor, and we need to vocalize. Yeah, I messed up. It's not done, right? And he gave her that space.
Now I'm gonna pause real quick, Isaac, because in my opinion, my humble opinion, I'm not quite sure she messed up.
I'm gonna tell you how she did.
Let me say this. I'm not quite sure she messed up. I think that and this is literally me going from like the information that we all have gotten, which is probably not accurate information. But what was said was, and he said it, I was done with you. Got it. And so what led up to, and I saw a lot of people reading into, the fact that she said she hadn't felt good in a long time. It's probably very clear that after almost 20 years, that to be done with somebody, right? Y'all went through some stuff, right? To be done. So probably neither one of them felt good for them to get to the point when they were done. So I don't read it into that he wasn't making her feel good, or that, I read into that they were in a really bad place. Felt good. He was done with her, and she hadn't felt good in a long time, right? And so she felt at that moment it was okay to step into something because this part was done. I don't think that she messed up in disrespecting her marriage based on what they said. If my partner tells me we are done.
We're in two different conversations.
Tell me.
I agree with you on that.
I just don't think she messed up.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you why.
Tell me why you think it was a mess up.
Because the mess up for him, in my opinion, was that you did it with somebody that we were like parenting.
That part.
That's hurtful.
Now that is a whole different part. That's
what I'm getting. So you see what I'm at? So I
agree.
I'm not gonna have this little young dude that I'm mentoring, having around me, kicking it, and then me and you break up and you start smashing this dude. Come on, man. That's disrespect on a whole nother level. A whole nother level.
I will say, I personally, now I'm not in the space of past judgment. I'm not in the space of past judgment. But I will say personally,
I'm talking about as a man.
Got it. I get it. I get your perspective. I will say personally, that is not the space that I would have chosen to delve into if that was like the case. However, like real talk, we don't know the dynamics of their space.
We don't. I'm just going off. Remember, I'll bring it back to Tyrone, right?
I know. I got you. So Tyrone.
Listen, I got the whole scenario. Tyrone was mentoring his son's football team, right?
Really, Isaac?
Tyrone.
He wasn't a child.
Tyrone and Shaniqua was getting killed.
We're not talking about a child.
All right. Tyrone was the CEO of Walgreens. And Tyrone Greens. All right. Walgreens. I like that.
Walgreens.
It's new.
And it was an associate?
An associate came in, and him and his wife, Walgreens is a conglomerate, is the last name, right? So him and his wife, they take on this little brother, take on this little brother, and they be mentoring him and everything. And then she takes and skedaddle off into the sunset with him. And now I got it. And we are this empire together.
I got it.
To Walgreens around the nation.
But like I said, I can't pass judgment on people's hearts. Man, and I can't pass judgment on how they navigate their relationship. And I can't pass judgment on that. So I won't. I will continue to not pass judgment on that.
I got you. You don't have to.
I would navigate. It's not the partner I would have chosen.
Right.
For whatever reason, that's the partnership that was chosen. Right.
Right.
And so I think that the hurt that resulted from it was not intended. I think that the consequences on all parties was not intended. I don't think that if you had told either one of them that this is where they would have landed, they would have made the same decisions the same way. You know, I don't think that, and you could hear even in their conversations about August, like they called him Og, right?
What?
Like you could still hear a lot of care and attempt at respect, right? But still not knowing how to navigate that all the way. But you can still see there's a reverberation of care all over the place. You know, this is also like somebody that was with their son, right? Their son's friend. So there's care all over the place, but a lot of missteps. I was just about to get there, Siobhan. Thank you, Siobhan. I was just about to say that. You know what? I think, and if I'm honest, if I'm completely honest, I think some of my feelings would be a little bit more similar to yours if the genders were switched, right? Like if this was one of their daughter's friends, right? You know, that was 20, 21 years old. And, you know, they separated and that is who Will chose to spend time with. I think in my gut, I would feel a whole lot differently. And I can admit that. Like, I think that, you know, and I don't know if that comes from my fervent care and protection of girls and Black girls and like my knowledge of like how Black girls can be injured in certain ways. And so I don't know if that's why my gut would feel different. And maybe it shouldn't feel different. But like in my gut, like if it were a 20, 21-year-old girl and it was Will, I probably would feel different. And I can admit that. I can admit that.
And this man said he was injured as well.
I hear it. I hear you. And then maybe, you know, I also like when we talk about how we view women and how we view men and how we view masculinity, I think we automatically assume because it's a man, you know, even though a young man, that his knowledge provided, like we automatically place a lot of the things that we're trying to escape when we talk about toxic masculinity. I think we impart that on him and say, well, he should have been that, or he should be that, so he shouldn't be injured in the way he says that he's injured.
Right. And it's something, and it's interesting that you're talking about that. I think we all have to look deep into ourselves and really question toxicity all over the board, right? And which brings up a whole other question: is what is normal, right? Because if I go in a toxic situation, all I know is toxic, right? Like if that's how I was reared until I see different. It's as we mature and begin to navigate relationships, I think understanding ourselves and what our triggers are and what sets us off or what doesn't set us off, bringing those things to the table would give us a better opportunity to navigate, you know, with someone else, with their issues that they may be having. But when you are just a person that's evil, like some of you mentioned earlier before, like we can go to a predator type situation, because that's one of the words that they use about Jada, that she was being a predator, right? So I don't necessarily say, excuse me?
I don't see that.
No, I don't think it was. I'm addressing it because I don't think it was. I think that was a situation of it was what it was, right? That kind of manifests into to the situation. But I think it looks ugly as the question on the screen about the different sex, how we view those type things. Like, you know, if no matter what, no one wants to hear the storyline per se. If it was a man with a girl, like, oh, he was wrong off the bat, because is a girl and it's a guy, an older guy. You know, it's the storyline really doesn't matter. But when it was, now that it's reversed, everybody, what's the backstory? How did we get here? Was she going through something? Was she taking a, it's like, hold on, wait. Like it's still the same story. You know? And I think all those things being captured on top of toxicity, masculine and feminine, I think it paints a picture for us to really step back as society and say, what is normal? And how do we address things?
You know, and I think I can agree with that because I think about also, like, even without switching genders, right? You know, how we view relationships that are not hetero cisgendered relationships between, you know, similarly aged people of similar backgrounds, similar economic status. Like, we kind of like paint this picture of like, this is what we consider to be ideal couple. And any shift away from that, right, like, we impart judgment and thought. And so, like, I wonder then what would be the reaction if this were same-sex couple, right, navigating through this space? Like, how would these conversations navigate themselves? What if this were, like, I mean, there's, like, been conversations about Will and Jada being poly, right, or, like, you know, swing in lifestyle. Like, what would that conversation be like? You know, anything that steps outside of what we consider to be normative in society, which reverts me back to, like, that ideology is, like, at the end of the day, like, we should really just allow people and withhold judgment from people from navigating what their heart calls them to be a part of and navigate through. And I think, you know, I don't know, you have me thinking a little bit, Isaac, because I'm actually challenging myself, you know, how I view this from this vantage point. Right. But I know that I would be up in arms, you know, if this were if it were a young girl, right? And it's still an adult woman, but, you know, I would view the power structure, you know, very differently. I would view, you know, especially if, you know, as I said, you know, she were sick, right? And I'm like, you took advantage of a sick young girl. I mean, from your, you know, your words, right. You know, it would get
burn you up.
It would burn me up. Right. It would burn me up. And, you know, and also, you know, I wonder how many people would be burned up if this, like I said, if we're a same-sex couple. And like, would they be angry if this were two young girls? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about, like, who we allow to be injured in society, who we allow to be hurt in society.
Watch this. When you start talking about males, like, because when you were talking about that, I started thinking about August Alsina, right? And we say we was going to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. And I'm talking about this could be any guy anywhere in USA, right? But I'm gonna use his words. He was like, you know, he was in love with her. Like, he gave himself to the situation, right? I think, and this is going back to our whole male mindset and the view of males in the world, it's taught that love is abrasive, right? It's like, this is like man, I'm too cool for all that. You know what I'm saying? That's most guys, the persona that they give is like this machismo kind of act toward love, but love is very vulnerable, right?
It is.
You don't know that you're being manipulated or hurt, and this guy's saying, I was hurt, like, because I know what love feels like, right? And until you understand what that feels like, the way you respond, that's not my place to judge how you respond to when that light comes on. But when you really have felt that intimate love from someone and then broken in that situation, I think on both sides of the coin, no matter if it's a woman or a male, you was brought into a love situation and you was hurt over it. And whoever brought that hurt, they have to own up if they did it in a way that probably wasn't the most sexy way of doing it.
That's
right?
Real. That's real.
It's gonna hurt that somebody gonna hurt somebody.
That's real.
Do it in a way respectfully. You know what I mean?
That's real. You know, because you're right. Like, you know, we talk about love in like all these ideal spaces, but it really is like, you know, stripping everything away and allowing someone to see you in ways that other, you know, I can attest that, you know, people that I've chosen in partnership have seen things about me and, you know, see me how, you know, in my spaces that aren't so great, you know, that things and the spaces that I don't want other people to know or see exist. You know, the times I'm just really, really tired or really, really sad, or like I need an ego boost because, you know, things out there have not been so great. And I need someone to say, actually, Nia, you're kind of dope. And the fact that I need that, the fact that I need to be told that I'm pretty or that I'm good or that I'm smart, that is such a vulnerable thing to ask for. Like, I don't want to have to ask for it. And but I will pull it from a partner, right? I won't ask the world for it, but I'll ask you for it. And if I don't get it, that's the part that can hurt me, because that's the part that I've shedded everything for. You know? And so the vulnerability that comes with loving somebody and allowing somebody to love you back is very real. You laughing at me?
No, why are you saying all the things you've been so vulnerable? In my mind is saying all I want is somebody that can make it clap.
On one. Every time. Every time. Making clap is not fun. I can't. See, this is why. I'm sorry, y'all. I had a whole thing that I was like trying to express, and my co-host, Mr. Cool over here, wants to talk about Isaac. Okay, so real talk though, because this is literally one of those moments we talk about like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Like real talk. Like I wanted to like delve into like this emotional, lovely space. I was feeling the moment, and all you want to talk about was making it come out. Really, Isaac? Like real talk. Is that really?
The 80s video, they always point first, then they turn this way, then they bring it back to it.
What does that do? What did that do?
That's the reinforce. Like I love you, babe. Like when see if they're with the see is a.
It wasn't. I will say too, like because when I saw that, I was like, man, that's hot. You know,
I know. Come on, new edition.
I was like, okay, I'm rocking with you.
Yeah. See,
nothing like a man that can dance. Nothing like a man, you know, that got a little rhythm. You ain't got rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I'm saying that lets me know all the answers that I need. You can't keep a beat. Okay, thank you.
I just tell people, I threw parties, man. So I used to see a lot of interesting things during events in the city, man. People,
Tell me the most interesting thing you saw at one of the events in the city. And I'm asking this because, you know, it goes back to like when we were talking about like courtship and, you know, and that space, right? And so I get to see from a distance how that dance maneuvers and how that energy gets.
You want a courting scene?
I want a courting scene. I want to know.
I'll give you one. I give you a success and a failure, right?
I want a failure first because that's funny.
The failure? It probably won't be that funny, but it was just, so like, you know, what guys would they typically do, and I'm trying to, because I got so many that's funneling through my mind right now. I'm trying to reduce it to one. So I had this, it was during trap bingo in the city, and doing crowds, 200, 300 people in there, everybody liquor, having a great time, doing their thing, right?
Yes.
And so this chick coming out, woman. Fine. I'm talking everything.
Are you emphasizing the F on the fine?
Fine. With the head. Right? So she comes through, you know, she got everything working, whatever. And she had like romper kind of outfits on, like that was kind of like that satin material, so everything is moving, but it's all yet where it belongs. And it's
I don't know any outfit that was like
Lord.
I don't
Listen,
know any outfit. I don't know what that outfit looks like. I can't even picture it.
God, it looks
An
like God. It looked like God was like this, and she came into being.
Got it. Got it.
That's what that outfit looked like.
Got
So
it.
walk in looking good. So of course, the guys generally they like the vultures. They're on the outside of the arena. They're on the backdrop, right? That's for the vantage point. That's for the let me see what's popping. Who coming, who's moving, right? Ladies, I'm putting y'all on game. Guys, you got to move around a little bit. Shake it up, shake your moves up.
Because the ones approach. Because there's the ones that are in the back and the ones that come straight in.
Yeah, see, and now you talking to you. See, you old enough. You understand the dynamic of it, right? So dude, see her like he peeped, and you can see the guy conversation like, man, you should, that's what we're talking about. Man, you should that thing right there, yeah, man. So like, yeah. So I'm watching, I'm peeping everything how they move and whatever, because I see the woman too. So she go over there, navigate by her friends, whatever, and they chit chat and they talk, whatever. So it's time for drinks. She go up to the bar. That's when the vultures go in, right? Dude go over there, make his little move. The look that dude had on his face when she gave him the silence, like when she gave him the no, and oh my God, like dude, because he took it, he walked all the way across the venue. That means you got to turn
and talk all the way.
And everybody can see, because all the guys are watching and all people, she's one of everybody watching her. So they saw you beeline. And yeah.
Oh, that makes me sad. You makes me sad because I feel like that's my son.
You asked for the bad one.
I feel like that's my son. I'm sorry. I see my son in that scenario every time. And I'm just like, I don't want to go that way.
You see, it's like a lot of guys don't see the body, the body language, or like when the woman is walking. Like I feel like I feel like having a conversation today.
That's very. We talked about that last week. And I said I can't read the room.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I read the room. He makes some eye contact, and it's like a little okay.
Right.
Maybe I come over, but if it's like. The reason why we're like this. And we said last week, there's a lot of reasons why we do that. Sometimes we're in relationships. So, we don't want to be bothered. Sometimes it's just a girl's night. Sometimes, there's a lot of reasons why we do this. But if we're in this, read the room. May not be the best time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, success story. I want a success story.
Success stories, they're generally, you see like a woman and a guy in a room, and it always starts off right. Like, so if a party starts at let's say at 9 o'clock, it's going to start jumping around 10:30.
Okay. Right?
That's when the music really is at its peak. All right. That's when you can get all the number one hits and the dancing music. About 9, like that's about an hour and a half in. The drinks had already started flowing. You feeling yourself. DJ right about to go into the reggae portion of his first set, right?
Okay, so whining.
So that's when you spoke about music, that's when everything pops off, right? So I'm gonna talk about the dancers and I'm gonna talk about the people that's just on the outside too. So the dancers, they've been out there trying to get on somebody. So you can tell when a woman isn't interested in the guy because she's she puts herself in that kind of arena, like I want to be around you, like I'm ready to dance, like So I'm not gonna. Some women are aggressive; they'll come and grab you, whatever. Some they like to be, approached. So when dudes, catch that pheromone, jump on in there, and now they start dancing. She's feeling him out, like you said. Can he dance? And he's like, yeah, baby, I can.
Yes.
Then what happened? See, the DJ, he knows when the right time to drop. And so when that song come on, now that's the test right there. That's the test of all tests for the man and the woman, right? Because if she can, right? And so and now she's trying to say, can he handle this? So with women, typically they throw it back hard, right? And so I would tell dudes, put your heels down, when they start backing up, right? So that we start seeing them, they moving, they doing their dance. And she said, oh, so he can dance. So now they both having a good time.
Yes.
So, go to the bar, right? That's when they sealing the deal. Like, what's going to happen? See, by the time they leave that bar and they come back on that dance floor, they dance another 2 songs. In a matter of 5-10 minutes, they both walking out the club.
Every time?
Every single time. They see that. And let me tell you, wow.
I've never done that.
Listen. Like, she go over there, she rendezvous. When I see her leave him and go to her girls and come back to him, I know what that conversation was. That was like, girl, he good. This is his name. This is
That's real. That's
look, I got driver's license. I got his blood type. I got a urine sample.
When screenshot his license plate in the back.
Yeah.
There's the location with the girls. Yeah.
And then the girl come over like, you better not mess with my, that's that's the mother hen, right? She always got to get in check, and he always cool, I got it, you know what I'm saying? Because he's saying I'm about to go smash the socks off her.
Really, I had a nice segue for that. I was really giving you like a little clap moment, and I had a nice segue to that. Now I'm going to take a nice segue. Everything is about the energy and has a beginning, middle, and end, right? And that initial energy that you click with somebody on, right? Whether it's, that meeting at the bar or that initial dance or like being in, an elevator, whatever, that first energizers that happens when you meet somebody, when you look back on a partnership, you're like, that moment where that energy exchange happens, and I'm talking about the energy exchange, right? Mm-hmm. That space. Like, I feel like that's what you go to, right? That's what you go back to when you're like, I feel that connection to this person. Feel that connection. That could be really love, friendship, whatever, but it's that first energy surge. I think that connects you to that person from jump. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You're still clapping.
No, I'm listening to you, man. I'm ready to go back. I gave you
a moment. I gave you a moment. Your whole 10 minutes.
I said about clapping. I'm good. You did. I was listening to you. I was receptive. Why you want to fight me? Let's make love and not hate. See.
I do. I love you very much.
I don't know how much time we've been on.
We got like 5 minutes left.
About 5 minutes. So let's
plug in today.
Huh?
What you plugging today? So what you plugging today?
I'm gonna plug Loud Stream NOLA. It's a platform, and also I'm gonna plug my business. It's called Black Friday Business Initiative Inc., and it's about galvanizing all the black businesses to support black business every Friday, and to those businesses to give back to the community so we can have generational wealth. There's a lot of pieces, so follow me over at blackfriday.bi on Instagram.
Nice. Well, I am plugging something that's near and dear to both of our hearts, and that is Magnolia Yoga Studio. My friend, Adrian Jackson, is the founder and proprietor of the only Black-owned yoga studio in this city. It is right there on Basin Street, 301 Basin, right next to Back in Town Coffee. That little segment of Basin Street has 2 Black-owned businesses, Magnolia Yoga and Back in Town Coffee. And prior to COVID, I would go to yoga at 6 and get my coffee by 8. And there were lovely, lovely days. Magnolia has reopened. She's been doing Zoom yoga. Then she moved on to Park Yoga, and she opened her studio again. It's limited. It's only members that are allowed inside the studio. There's lots of precautions that she's taken. She's met with people all over the city on what it means to open her studio safely. And so yoga changed my life in more ways than one. It has changed not just my physical status, but my emotional status, and my friendship with Ajax and my gratitude for her is just immense. And so, either get on the Zoom platform, come meet us at the park, or get a membership and come join the people who are going to the studio. But Magnolia Yoga Studio, come join the family. Isaac, go.
Yes, and I was just about to say that. I definitely want to piggyback and to applaud and to also, push those words that Nia just said, because yoga, going to that particular studio, it changed my life in a major way. And I tell Ajax that all the time. I was going through a change in my life, and that was the kind of the thing that turned, and then it was amazing. People, it's not just about doing stretches, and then it's a full spiritual awakening that you can receive if you allow yourself to become one, and that's what it's about, becoming one with yourself. So I definitely highly recommend Magnolia Yoga Studio. Yeah, shout out to your Ajax.
Yes, Ajax. Yay. That's who I went to the beach with a couple weeks ago.
That's you say what?
That's who I went to the beach with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wrap it up right about here.
There we go.
You good to go with it?
Be good to go.
All right. It was a
Hey, Loudstream. Thank you. First time on the platform.
Everybody that's just tuning in, you can always find us right here on Loudstream NOLA. We're going to continue to try to reach out on more and more platforms, because we want everybody to understand what love is, Black love is, and how to move and navigate, and just see two people, two good friends having a good conversation. Right here. You got anything else, baby?
I'm good.
Good too. I shade to the femininity in you.
I shade the masculinity in Isaac. And I shade the universal connection.
Peace.
See y'all next week.